you guys an idea what I've done, I have done quite a lot of changes around decoupling client provider. So the first thing is basically where the activate method in the extension TS, instead of having the context being just passed in across every single time in every class, I've made it a singleton so that it lives statically in the runtime and can be used throughout. So at any point in time that you call a, let's say, a new class in client provider, what was happening before is we're passing context continuously into the setups that we have for each of the class, such as a context proxy, and a few other places in this page, and that I felt was quite a good move so that we avoid getting to the position of just passing these live argument. And the point of this is also at some point is to get the context proxy, which is kind of a wrapper using map to quickly access these settings that we have with the context and provide a better way of caching those and quickly passing the state back to the VS Code quickly, just to get that read effect faster. That is one of the major things I've done, and obviously there's quite a lot of changes here which I'll hopefully go through. I'm just going through my current change log here. The other thing I've done is also updated the kind of the stack of or management of Cline as itself into something called a Cline Stack Manager. So what I've done is gone through the Cline provider and kind of removed a chunk of the code that was related to putting and pushing Cline into an array holding the Cline stack. So that helps kind of reduce the length of this code and kind of separates the concern just for the Cline in terms of getting the list of what's it called, a list of Cline, where some of these methods don't actually have has not even been used. So this get Cline stacks as was not even used. So even though it's been removed and moved into the Cline stack manager, it still exists, but it's unused. So I flagged it up as a to-do item that we can actually remove. And the way I'm doing the code at the moment is obviously having an interface and actual class itself. You can see this is not a static class, and it's only being used there as a manager when client provider is being initiated. The initiation of this client stack manager is being done in the constructor of client provider, and where it was used in the code, I have moved it across. The next element I've removed is kind of a state and the web view. So there was quite a lot of state management, and what I've done is it kind of, from my understanding, it's kind of duplicated some of the work that we are working already in. Where was it? I think it's custom mode. Yeah, custom mode and state management. And I think these two could really be combined into one, and also the context proxy, but that's still a task to be done. It's still some cleaning to be done on kind of merging files, because I can see there's a lot of functions and methods in Cline Provider doing nearly the same thing and could be really wrapped up together. So that was the second thing I've done. And you can see obviously, the client stack managers throughout, and I've also removed the web view into a separate manager. And I've done this so that we are kind of managing the kind of how do you call this, the actual web view setup for the tab, the sidebar, and as well as the pop-up web view. It kind of again separates the concern and focuses the code specifically to this. Obviously, there are still some errors because I'm still moving things across, but that's something I'm working on slowly. And whenever I'm going through that, it does seem that there are bits and pieces that are still giving some errors. Obviously, because I've changed things around, as some of the items we don't need to kind of repass in the client manager. Like for example, over at client, we are doing a few things differently, and I just need to change the arguments for those to match the adjustment. And obviously, I'm doing the test for each of those new files I'm creating. I haven't done one for the web view yet, but I will do that. What else did I do? Yeah, I think that's kind of main changes I've done, and also trying to build interfaces. It gives us the ability to kind of quickly swap things, and one of the kind of goals I want to achieve in the next couple of months is potentially using dependency injection in the code. And what does this mean is that we don't need to pass the methods or the singletons that we have directly here, or even initiate it within the code. All it does is you basically call it in, and it's there ready, available, because it's already been initiated at the extension stage, which is this container, where we call this once and we register all the singletons and all classes that we effectively use across the board, such as the logger and output channel. It gives us that context throughout without doing many import, and saves us a lot of this increase of code import at the top of the file. So far this has helped a lot and reduced it from 3000 to 2000. So another 500 lines of codes being separated. Obviously there's still some work to do on here, and once we get this level of decoupling across the board, this will obviously help. I think one of the things I'm working on at the moment, finishing off, is the output channel. So again, I'm creating a singleton. I've created one, initiates it. So before we were just getting the create output channel using root code, and what I'm doing now, again, singleton, and then again registering it to the context at that point in time, and just carrying on. So you can see, like, one of the things that's in migrate settings, I've actually removed the need to pass on context, and the next one will be the need to actually remove the need to pass the output channel, because then we're not dependent too much on knowing what's happening because of the reflection when we compile the code in TypeScript, in theory. But that's still to be built, and hopefully that does help manage the scope and the life of a lot of these classes. Because some of the time you might just be, let's say, your migration setting, you could still run it at runtime and be done once, and that's it. And then it destroys this and removes it off memory, and we don't need it every time we have activate on, and doesn't leave it there effectively. So it does help manage memory in some ways. But yeah, that's what I've done really recently. It'll be good to get your information, your views on this. I'm still working on it, but I'll hopefully push this out and see what you guys can see in my comments in my PR.